As a vampire, time should have meant nothing, but over 4,000 days of darkness is enough to drive even the most elegant noble mad. My skin has turned a translucent pale from extreme bloodthirst. The silver suppresses most of my power, leaving me unable to move. Until I met her. Rumour had it that the Earl of Blackwood once had a lost daughter. After she disappeared, the Countess, overwhelmed by grief, adopted another girl to fill the void. Half a year ago, when the Blackwoods finally found their true heir, Evelyn, and sent someone to fetch her from the countryside, their carriage stopped here for a brief moment. I breathed a cold breast beside her ear. Give me something to eat, or let me drain every drop of your blood. You think I'm a beggar? I want what they're having.
I haven't entered the manor yet. The Blackwoods do not feed idlers. This is my own ration.
The Blackwoods were wealthy enough to rival nations. A few years ago, at a banquet in the Earl's domain, I had seen the adopted daughter, Chloe. She was dripping with jewels, dancing across the ballroom like a princess. At that time, the Countess had wept in public. Yet, only a few years later, when her biological daughter was finally returning to the family, her only food was a piece of stale black bread. For those who are unloved, even returning home is just wandering to a different place.
You are a lady! Have some dignity! Eating such lowly filth only shames the family.
Look at this country bupper. She's worth less than the cat in Lady Chloe's room.
The Earl and Countess knew where she was 3 years ago. They just didn't bring her back because she looked too filthy.
If it weren't for the marriage alliance, who would bother fetching an orphan from a stable?
You want to see them punished? Shall I go faster? Evelyn laughed through her tears.
What is your name? When I've saved enough money, I'll find the best priest to grant you eternal rest.
The holy silver spike has me pinned. Don't waste your breath. Just live. All I ever wanted was to live.
I'll come back for you.
But she didn't return for half a year. Then she appeared once again in the storm-swept wilderness. She looked terrible, thinner, drenched in mud, wearing nothing but a tattered rag of a dress.
I didn't forget you. I just couldn't leave. No roasted chicken, don't hate me. Even at death's door, I'm still thinking of you.
Who pushed you to this? The Blackwoods?
She gave a Blake smile. Rain and tears blurted together on her face.
The next second, she used her small knife to awaken the Pap.
Come here. Give me a hug. I forgot. You can't move. Let me hug you.
What is your wish? I will grant it.
I want to die, and you want to live. You are the only person who ever protected me. I give my life to you. Drag those demons to hell for me. A vampire's power is immense, but no one can save a heart that has already chosen to die. That night, the Blackwoods lost a daughter no one cared about. A demon was resurrected. Before returning to the Blackwood estate, I made a detour to the holy monastery deep in the mountains. The Queen Mother lived there, the foster mother of the current king. In the past, she had no fondness with me. But now, after I revealed the truth behind her son's death, she took my side and would return to the palace with me to seek our revenge. I arrived back at the manor on the very day of the adopted daughter's coming-of-age ball. No one remembered that today was also Evelyn's birthday.
These are the family heirlooms left by your grandmother. I wouldn't give them to anyone else, only to my Chloe.
I knew Mother loved me most of all.
Sebastian, the Blackwood heir, stepped forward and offered a huge 5-colored agate ring.
I specifically requested this from Prince Hedrick. Only you are worthy of it.
Hedrick? Now that was a pleasant surprise.
Your father's gift is no less grand. I have petitioned the king. Once you come of age, the prince himself will officially announce your engagement.
Then what about me? What gift do I get?
How dare you return to this house? Do you have any idea how much Chloe suffered because of your disappearance?
Sebastian, please don't. I've already forgiven Evelyn. Even though she pushed me into the lake. Even though she stole my jewels to run away with a stable boy. Even though she nearly cost me my life more than once, I choose to let it go. Evelyn, please. Just kneel and beg Father and Mother for mercy. Do not provoke them any further.
The Countess gave a cold laugh and turned away.
The last time Chloe tried to show her any affection, she was nearly drowned. If I let her apologize now, I might not live to see tomorrow.
I have but one daughter, and her name is Chloe. Do not sicken me with the presence of this creature.
Evelyn, just apologize.
What are you waiting for?
Kneel!
I stood exactly where I was, everything she has. Don't I deserve it as well?
You dare compare yourself to Chloe? You are a lowly slut who tried to seduce a stable boy. You are a stain upon this family. If Chloe hadn't been shielding you all this time, you would have been rotting in a ditch long ago.
Who told you I eloped?
Chloe kept that innocent look as she walked toward me. Evelyn, don't be afraid. Now that you're back, we will keep your secret. I've already destroyed that love letter you wrote to the stable boy. As long as you kneel and beg father and mother for forgiveness, we can still be a happy family.
Look at your sister. You aren't worth her shadow. If you weren't my own flesh and blood, I would have left you to the wolves long ago.
Her nails dug deep into my skin. You're quite lucky, bitch. I can't believe you didn't die out there.
I could hardly believe it. This pathetic, low-class scheme was what drove the real Evelyn to her death?
So it was you who spread the rumors about me and the stable boy?
Sister, are you blaming me? I didn't mean to. I moved fast. I dislocated her jaw.
Seize her!
The fat, vicious maid beside Chloe charged first.
You were jealous of Lady Chloe. You tried to murder her. You pushed her in.
A practiced liar. How entertaining.
If it's the gifts you want, I'll give them to you. But if you dare harm my Chloe, I will never forgive you as long as I live.
Next time I'll aim for your eyes. If they are blind to the truth, then they are of no use to you.
When I was an assassin at Alexander's side, helping him eliminate his political rivals.
Stop! We'll give you whatever you want. Chloe's quarters? The inheritance? Even the prince's engagement. Put down the knife, and we can negotiate.
I'll tell you exactly what I want. He hesitated, then stepped closer. Then came blow after blow, until his pride broke with his smile. Did I give you permission to speak? Idiot.
Now, does anyone else have an objection?
Do as she says. No one move!
Evelyn, returning from the countryside, was hated from the very moment she stepped foot in the manor.
On her first day back, Chloe had deliberately cut her own arm to frame her. She destroyed the christening gown. She even laced the Earl's medicine with slow-acting poison, only to claim that Evelyn was the one trying to murder her own father. And when you were locked in the chapel for it, Chloe offered to bring you food, but she never brought a single scrap. Instead, she ordered the guards to terrorize you in the dead of night.
And the elopement?
She forged the love letters, saying you ran away with a servant. But in truth, she bribed bandits in the wilderness to kill you, to make you vanish forever.
Take Chloe away.
Derry Shruncher!
The doors were violently thrown open. Templar knights in white gold armor flooded into the hall. At their head was Prince Hedrick.
Evelyn, you despicable madwoman. You dare harm my betrothed? I will see you burned to ashes upon the pyre.
Oh? To arrest the true-born daughter of this house within her own father's manor, have you asked for their consent?
The Earl lowered his eyes. The Countess stammered for a while, then said nothing.
Do you honestly believe that by ruining Chloe you can marry me? Ridiculous. I will make you pay for every sin you have committed. Kill her! I have only one sister, and that is Chloe!
Even when faced with the truth, you still choose to shield her?
The truth. As a prince, if I say Chloe's innocent, then she is innocent. And you are nothing but a murderer driven mad by jealousy. Take her away. Bring her to the High Tribunal. Tell the Lord Justice to ensure this venomous woman is to the full extent of the law.
My apologies, Prince Hedrick. I'm afraid I cannot do that.
Lord Justice Bell stepped from the shadows. He did not look at Hedrick. Instead, he knelt before me.
So sorry, Your Highness. By order of the King, anyone in this room who seeks to harm me
is to be thrown into the dungeon.
I granted you your revenge, did I not? Yet now you take the power I gave you and use it against my own son.
King Alexander questioned me in displeasure. I lounged on the velvet chaise, half as asleep in the sun, without looking at him.
Your temperament. It grows more like hers.
I recalled our meeting half a wunks ago. I had gone to the convent to see the Queen Mother, and there I crossed paths with the king. In a single, fluid strike, I had unhorsed him. I stepped on his shoulder blade and caught his throat. The guards moved to kill me, but he waved them back. He said my movements in that moment reminded him of Lillian, his first love lost so many years ago. How absurd. Now, wearing Evelyn's face to play the part of my former self, it was, of course, a perfect reflection. Who better to play the ghost than the woman herself? He had fallen for me at first sight, demanding that I become his mistress. and the condition I set was simple.
Kill Chloe for me.
He must kill Chloe for me. Alexander had grown old. He had become mellow, his former ruthlessness weathered away. He no longer had the stomach to meddle in the private affairs of his ministers. He only commanded the Lord Justice to assist me. Whether I succeeded or failed depended entirely on my own hands. So, I chose a blood-soaked path for the interrogation. With the Lord Justice standing witness and the evidence irrefutable, they all broke and confessed. Then came Prince Hedrick, eager to vent his fury on behalf of his fiancée.
He nearly died as a child, and the Queen has cattled him ever since. To see Hedrick turn out like this, it is a profound disappointment.
I looked up at him, my gaze Lillian that just the look he loved most. Seeing me like that, his eyes softened. He was about to speak.
Her Majesty, the Queen!
My eyes lit up. I've waited so long for this moment.
Queen Juliana looked perfectly composed. Then she passed me without a glance.
Hedrick is still young. He was merely led astray by some wicked influence and acted out of impulse. As Queen, I have failed to guide the Crown Prince. I am willing to sequester myself in St. Mary's Convent to repent for my failing.
It was a calculated gamble. She wasn't begging for mercy. She was betting on power. The Normans, standing behind Juliana, controlled a third of the Empire's iron mines and its military. If she and Hedrick were penalized, the Normans would not take it lying down, and the cabinet would be thrown into a frenzy once more.
Her Majesty has been ill for months. She nearly collapsed on the journey.
My lady, in the presence of the king, does a mere servant now have the right to speak? Alexander waved his hand. Lord Justice Bell immediately had the talkable lady-in-waiter dragged out. This wicked influence the Queen speaks of, does she mean me? Or is she referring to that woman of dubious origin, Chloe?
You are the one I love. If you were wicked, would that not make me the Lord of Hell? Since this woman called Chloe is so insidious, manipulating the prince's mercy and plotting to murder a member of the royal family, I shall sentence her to—
No! Father!
Prince Hedrick stumbled into the inner hall. Presumptuous! If you do not wake from that woman's spell this instant, I will personally send her to meet God.
Mother, Chloe is innocent. She is as pure as an angel, merely framed by a wicked soul. Her face is already ruined. She has suffered more than enough. As the mistress of this kingdom, you should be protecting a fragile woman like her.
Alexander looked at the prince, his eyes filled with disgust. Since His Highness remains unconvinced, why not let him visit the chamber of incredation and witness the interrogation himself? The Queen's face changed. Her body trembled violently. The chamber has 72 methods of torture. No one emerges alive.
Hedrick has never seen such carnage. I fear it will shatter his mind.
Instead of wasting your breath begging me, you would be better off educating your useless son. Continue to pamper him, and he will be fit for nothing but exile to the frozen woods of the north. I suppose this counts as me settling the score for you.
3 days later, the once arrogant Prince Hedrick collapsed, broken by illness. Word spread that he had watched, paralyzed, as Chloe was torn apart, her blood slicking the stone floor. With her final Yubing strength, she clawed at his boots.
Save me, Hedrick.
He had fled the scene in pure, unadulterated terror. Now, every time he closes his eyes, he sees the spherical image of Chloe whispering at his bedside.
You promised we would be together forever.
I was not content with merely shattering a prince's insanity. I took the blood-crusted gown Chloe wore during her agony, sealed it within an exquisite gift box, and had it delivered to the Earl's manor. I heard the Countess had coughed up blood and fallen into a coma on the spot. The Blackwoods, once steeped in glory, have become the premier laughingstock of the social season.
That my heir should be so utterly spinless. This shame is a fate far worse than death.
The Queen happened to pass by and heard him, her face twisted with fury. I watched her from the king's side. Then I gave her a provocative smile. Alexander sought Lillian's ghost within me with a fervory bordering on madness. He craved that specific, reckless arrogance in my soul, that untamed defiance. He came to my chambers almost every day, heaping favor.
If Juliana had dared to call her a witch, she would have slapped her right in front of me.
I hadn't always been so overbearing. The only time I had struck Juliana was when she pointed at my swollen belly.
You have spilled too much blood. You are not worthy of bearing royal seeds. Even if you carry it to term, there is no guarantee you will bring forth a living soul.
The cost of that impulse? I was sentenced to kneel for a full night. In the cold, I lost the child that had been in my womb for 8 months. Only much later did I learn that when Juliana approached me that day, she carried a scent infused with abortifactions.
He drew his hand out of my hair.
It is late.
I cannot sleep. My mind is haunted by the memory of my brother. The year Alexander went on his great campaign, Juliana's brother led the Holy Army to siege my estate. Juliana dragged my brother, whom I had hidden so carefully, and forced him before me to demand my surrender. You die, or he dies. Make your choice. My family, the House of Mortani, had been falsely accused by the late king. I became Alexander's shadow, an assassin killing anyone whom he wished to eliminate. The palace held a grand autumn hunt banquet. Alexander held my hand tightly and seated me beside him. Juliana held on to her pride, hatred clenched between her teeth. The goblet in Juliana's hand nearly shattered. I rose and left the banquet.
Be careful.
I have this. Don't worry. I walked to a secluded place. A rusty iron door opened. Selina stood trembling in the moonlight, waiting for me.
Are they still alive? What more do you want from me?
Kneel.
Yes, my lady.
This place is a far cry from the grand courtyard you once inhabited. What's the matter? Has Juliana not been kind to you? I failed to bear the king a child. This is the life I have earned. What is it you want? Pay more frequent visits to the queen. Since her precious son is bedthrown, it is only fitting that you go and offer your compassion.
If I do this, will you release my family?
You are in no position to bargain with me. That year, she was the only one who had my brother's letter. The hand that sold us out belonged to her, Selina, blood for blood. What made her think she had the right to negotiate? From the moment I delivered the keepsakes of her mother and brother into her hands, every day until her death, she would know no peace. On my way back to the banquet, Lady Aurora stopped me.
You look remarkably like an old friend of mine.
I know, the king told me. I'm just a stand-in for his first love. But with plenty to eat and the king's favor, why should I complain? The current situation is a golden opportunity for Prince Derek. The king is desperate for an able son. A chance like this won't come again. Compared to the queen's brittle hypocrisy, you seem far more genuine to me. The scales of power in the kingdom began to tilt entirely at the subtle agitation of my fingertips. Hedrick collapsed under the weight of his own terror. The ambitious Derek finally had his moment to command the Round Table Council. His mother, Lady Aurora, had once been my favorite handmaiden at the estate. In those days, she trailed behind me like a fragile shadow, soft and obedient. Whenever I returned to the manor after eliminating the king's enemies, she would be waiting at the end of the long gallery with warm water, ready to cleanse my wounds. The two people I had trusted most in that life, one was Aurora, whom I had elevated with my own hand. The other was Selina, the wretch I had plucked from the grave. But in the end, Selina traded my brother's life for a royal title. And Aurora, she drove a blade through my back to purchase a future for herself and her son.
Now, armed with the evidence I provided, Aurora has seen a duke from the queen's lineage imprisoned for corruption. Derek tirelessly courts the masses, crushing the weakened Hedrick under his thigh. In the palace walls, Aurora openly flaunters our alliance, catching the queen completely off guard.
Thank you for the gift, dear Evelyn. It is a pity the old duke went to his grave without implicating Hedrick. The evidence is irrelevant. Rumors have a poison all their own. Prince Derek should understand that well enough. I rose and left. Aurora's smile vanished in an instant. She truly believes she is the hunter. She has no inkling that the deadliest predators always present themselves as the prey. Because I was pregnant, Alexander mobilized nearly the entire royal guard to encircle my chambers.
This time, I will ensure that both mother and child survive.
I hid the mockery at the corner of my mouth.
When he had carried her out of a similar scene, only to find the life within her gone, I mirrored the haunting, hollow-eyed stare Lillian once wore when she was broken.
Selina's maid knelt on the floor and said,
"The queen has been summoning Our Lady constantly. Before Our Lady came here, the queen sent a message. Go in peace. I shall handle the rest."
When the physicians declared that I had been ravaged by a lethal toxin, my body shattered, my womb rendered forever barren. He loathed the repetition of this tragedy even more. Alexander turned and stormed toward the queen's palace.
As Selina was dragged away, she shrieked for mercy, her eyes wide with desperate impatience. I knew what she wanted. She had played her part in my script. She expected me to spare her mother and brother. But my brother is dead. By what right does she still have hers?
She was thrown into the deepest dungeon. I stood before her in a black cloak.
You promised! You said if I did doing, they would live! You lost so much blood, yet you stand here now? You aren't human. What are you? I crouched down and looked at her with ice in my eyes. Years ago, I rescued her mother from a brothel and found her brother honest work. Yet, those two lured my brother out of hiding with lies of my peril.
I am not Lillian's sister. Lillian never had a sister. So guess, why are my killing techniques exactly the same as Lillian's? When I returned to the palace, Alexander was sitting by the bed, reading.
He was desperate to atone for his failures to Lillian through me. For a fleeting second, I almost faltered under the weight of his devotion. But then I remembered. The true executioner, the queen, had been forgiven. He had merely confined her to her chambers.
When you have healed, I shall name you Duchess. No more schemes, all right?
What if I want her life in exchange for my child's?
Evelyn!
He was reminding me to behave. To be a graceful bird in a cage, not a predator seeking blood.
Lillian died by her hand too, didn't she? Did you protect her back then the same way? Alexander froze. Or is it that you never truly loved Lillian, just as you never truly cared for me?
Enough! I have spoiled you beyond reason. Who do you think you are? You are but a plaything I keep. From this day forth, you go nowhere!
Alexander adored my wild defiance, yet he loathed my lack of submission. It was the same paradox he had with Lillian. He loved her for the blood she spilled in his name, yet condemned her for being too fierce. He preferred the queen's poise, Aurora's gentleness, and Selena's duplicity, quiet virtues that never challenged his ego. The truth was, he loved no one but himself.
I offered you 1,000 chances for redemption. You chose to look away. Do not blame me for the ruin that follows. Soon, the court was abuzz with a new scandal. The arrogant Evelyn had finally overstepped, becoming a cursed, discarded favorite. No one rejoiced more than Aurora. She seized control of the internal palace affairs, while her son, Derek, began to dominate the council chamber as if the crown were already his. Hedrick, shattered by the psychological horrors he had witnessed, was stripped of his authority and sent to a monastery to convalesce. She begged for an audience with the king, only to have the doors slammed in her face. That day, I flew a giant falcon kite in the garden. Years ago, Lillian's brother had gifted Alexander a captured falcon, promising to guard the king just as an eagle guards the sky. When Alexander stood outside the palace and looked up at the circling falcon, I knew he was thinking of the boy who had died under the Holy Army's swords.
The Earl sent a messenger with a cold ultimatum, beg the king's forgiveness at once. For the sake of the family, I shall send a more submissive daughter to the palace. Raise her child as your own. That shall be your only support. Understand this. Without the earlity, you are nothing. I placed the letter directly upon Alexander's desk. No monarch can tolerate a vassal attempting to pull the strings of his private life. Overnight, the Earl's house was implicated in a treasonous conspiracy. Their lands were seized, their titles revoked. Men like him don't need excuses when they want to act.
Did you not say you loved the untamed spirit within me most of all?
The court is not a slaughterhouse. I will give you the means to protect yourself, but you must be mine to command.
Only if you repay me for the child I lost.